Hello? Can you guys hear it? What the fuck? Oh my, where the hell, where are we?
In space.
Fuck, where are we? Hello?
Oh, now I can hear it.
It's just in space. Hello.
Oh my god. What is this white thing? Oh, okay, so I'm gonna make this a little bigger. This is going exactly how I thought it would go. Oh, I'm here. I'm here, guys. I made it.
No.
I made it.
Whoa.
Oh, I made it. Oh, Scott's here.
There.
Oh my gosh, Scott's here. Gonna have to. We're banging out the.
Whoa.
We're ironing out the kinks here. We actually embrace the kinks here. Wow. Oh my gosh, this scared the shit out of me. We're back. We're back, baby. We are back.
I just there's Darren.
There he is.
Oh gosh, thank
Darren's
goodness.
not here.
Wow, we are floating in space because we are so high because we are back, baby. Oh wait, did you send me the intro?
I did.
All right. Can you
You
play
wanna
it
try
instead?
that again?
Can you play it instead? Actually,
I can.
Because you can play it without the screen share thing.
Yes, I can.
Yeah, go ahead.
Broadcasting from the Sandpiper Vacation Studios. It's NNF After Dark, where we peel back the layers of the onion of life. And now, here's the host of the No New Friends podcast, Scott.
What the fuck? You couldn't even pay for a new intro for me, Scott? Wow. This is No New Friends After Dark, baby. We are back. We are back like we never left. No, we actually left for a very long time. Don't blame me. Blame the guy who paid for the intro introducing himself. I am your host on this journey, Chris. I don't know why I said that. With me is the man himself, Mr. Scott. Scott, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. Listen, I forgot about this intro.
Yeah, I'm sure you
and
did.
I thought it was made correctly.
Yeah, whatever. You excited? I'm excited. Don't answer that. We have to go. We have to
yeah.
introduce the rest. Along with me as well is our emotional support gay, Nick. Nick, how the hell are you doing?
I'm amazing.
Now listen, the last time we did After Dark was us three. It's a good old threesome, you know?
It was a threesome.
And now we have grown one stronger. Introducing for the first time on the New Friends After Dark, the good Maffei, the wise man himself, Darren. I was hoping that he left to just do like a theatrical entrance, but I think he got disconnected. I think he got disconnected. Wow. It's us. I mean, we're fun. We're here. Darren is with us in spirit. Hopefully in person
Hopefully.
as well. Because I don't have a screen that would satisfy 3 cameras. Oh, thank goodness.
I'm back.
Darren, I thought that you closed off your camera to do a theatrical entrance. So I did introduce you. We'll introduce you again. The one, the only, the wise man, Darren. Darren, welcome on to No New Friends After Dark.
Literally, as soon as you started introducing everybody, it crashed.
Yeah.
Like-
Yeah. That was Scott. 'Cause he
You
didn't.
started
He Scott didn't know how to tell you no because you're a
You're just
son.
making an entrance. You're making an entrance like the gays. Like we like to make an entrance everywhere we go. So
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel like you've learned from me.
Oh man, we were all muted this whole time. No, I'm just kidding. No, man, I've got this thing down now. This is
what we're doing.
this is gonna be officially episode 1 of No New Friends After Dark. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Live.
What? We're live right now?
No New Friends After Dark, episode 1, live. Live and in person, no editing. This is not going to be edited. I think it's just because Scott wants a break. I don't think it's because he thought it would be cooler. I think it's just because he wants a break, which is fine. I get that. But this is going to be live, unfiltered, raw. We're raw dogging this. And the only place you can listen to this is, you guessed it, where you're watching it right now, YouTube, because you cannot hear me unless you're listening to it on YouTube. So if you're hearing me right now, you are doing the right thing. You're watching this on YouTube. This is
If you
it.
can hear us, clap your hands.
And you know what the number one complaint's gonna be, Nick? You know what the number one complaint's gonna be? Oh, I can't
beautiful
lock.
we are.
I can't lock my screen and listen to this. You know, at the gym when I'm lifting weights. Then buy YouTube Premium. It's $17 a month. It's not that much. It's actually a lot. That's actually very ballsy of YouTube to charge $17 a month. That's a lot of money that I've been paying for 3 years now. It is so much money. But open up your own business and just, it's a tax write-off. So anyway, we're back. We are here in the virtual flesh with one more. This is the old. I'm trying to get better intros, guys. Tonight we have. I want to dive into more of Nick's trip because.
I thought you were diving into me.
I was choosing my words wisely because I know we're live. It's not being edited. I'll text you what I really wanted to say. But so Nick's talking a lot about his vacation. And we went from one vacation being very racist and privileged to another vacation like being just so nice, fun and fancy free, if you will. And Nick, so you went on a Virgin Voyages cruise, super gay friendly, typically anyway, right? But this time it was like, so I would describe it as like you go to Walmart and it's cool and all. You go to regular, but then you go to like your first ever Walmart, like super Walmart. You're like, holy shit, this exists. Yeah. I can buy food here, right? Right. So like you go on a regular Virgin cruise, it's like 10 gays. Now you're on a cruise with like hundreds of gays. Like you go to the super Walmart for the first time. So I kind of wanted to dive into that because as far as I've learned, I think you're a travel agent. So I'd like you to kind of tie that in as well. Yeah.
In case you don't know, I own my own travel agency, Sandpiper Vacations. We focus on Disney and cruises and all-inclusive resorts. So that's my job, is to travel now and see the world and see different destinations. And something with my agency that we've talked about before is I'm gay. Not a surprise. Yes. Not a surprise. We've talked about this previously, but I'm gay. My husband and I own this travel agency, but we also have a daughter. We have a 6-year-old daughter.
How does that work? How did you procreated, you and your? Oh, that's
Scott's not familiar with how this works, but when two people fall in love, they have a baby. So we adopted our daughter.
Love wins every time.
Yeah, love wins. We adopted our daughter, and because of that, we've always held our guard up anywhere we go.
Sure.
Even in public, going to Walmart, going to Target, because we are two gay guys, and not only are we two gay guys, we have a black child. Yeah. So you throw that in the mix as well too.
You're like, let me just live the hardest life possible.
Yeah. Exactly.
If being a gay married couple wasn't hard enough, let's adopt a black child.
Exactly. Yeah. That was kind of my entire goal. Life. It was on the gay agenda.
Of course. Yeah. Let me take this one step further.
Yeah. And it's something that it's like I didn't really think about it until we started talking about this on the podcast, No Difference podcast. If you didn't listen to that episode, go back and listen. But we talked about this cruise and how different it was for me on this trip. It's, in general, as a gay couple, traveling is not very easy for us.
Right.
Every time we go somewhere, we have to hold our guard up because every city, every state is different, and countries are different as well, too, on accepting us of who we are. And luckily, we've not ran into any problems in the past. And
thank goodness,
part of my goal with my travel agency is trying to find safe spaces for the LGBT community to travel, and LGBT parents as well too. So, for us, Virgin Voyages stood out first thing. When Sean and I first sailed on them 2 years ago, it was the very first thing we noticed when we stepped on board that cruise line is we felt safe. We felt like we were home, essentially.
Did you research first, or did you?
Yeah, I knew the brand. I knew the Virgin brand kind of a little bit through the travel agency side and learning the cruise line and kind of what their mission was. The fact that they promoted that they had a drag queen that worked on board and they did drag bingo.
That's awesome.
Obviously, it was a huge standout. Yeah, it's a huge standout to me, and what kind of drew me into that brand just because of that aspect of it. Not just because it was an adult-only cruise line. But when they announced that we have a drag queen on board that works here and they're getting paid to do this for a living, like it definitely stands out to us that it's very gay friendly. But in general, I knew the Virgin brand from the airlines and that they've had. That I have friends that work for Virgin Australia, and how supportive that brand is of the gay community. Definitely drew me into that brand, and now they're a cruise line. And you see it first thing when you walk on board with the crew is allowed to be themselves. When you go on Disney and Royal Caribbean, the people that work on the ships, they are very polished. They have a certain look, and each job has a certain look, essentially too. And they have to be clean shaven. They can't show tattoos, and if they are tattoos, that has to be like a tiny little one. When you step on Virgin, you see different hair colors. There was a server or bartender that had blue hair, purple hair. You see tattoos, visible facial piercings. You see it all. You see men wearing women's clothing on there too. So you see it from the crew, and that transfers down to the clientele. And it was awesome this past sailing. This was my 4th time on Virgin. I'm starting to see it more in the clientele coming on board. Everybody that comes on just feels loved and accepted. So.
Yeah, that's awesome to me. Now, Darren, you haven't been on here. We discussed stuff like this before. Have you ever vacationed to anywhere like besides the Middle East, where you'd have to like do research to see if you'd be safe there or not?
Honestly, no, I haven't. The only like vacation area going out of like the country is on a Royal Caribbean cruise.
Right.
And I didn't really even. I don't even like getting off the. I just like being where all food is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just wild to me that that's just a factor in vacationing somewhere is just safety. Again, like I said, if you're outside of traveling to like a war zone, right? What was really cool about your story on this week's podcast, and if you haven't listened to that, head over to we streamed the whole thing on YouTube. Actually, we didn't even change anything, so you can go over to YouTube and watch episode 225. Nick in segment 2, or it's not really segment 2 anymore, but in the second half of the show, Nick talked about his vacation. What was really cool was this one of the first vacations that you felt completely quote unquote safe to be, and not safe as in safety wise, but safe to be yourself? Because like you said, Virgin does a great job at that, but you've also said like in the last episode that like, yeah, you know, there was a handful of people in my community there and it was cool, but this time it was like there was hundreds of people there. It was almost like you guys were maybe you guys weren't the majority of the people, but it felt like it, I would assume, at these gatherings. So was this the first vacation you ever felt completely or as close as you could feel as completely safe to be yourself?
Yeah, I'd say definitely more so than even before. It's like even before, I think holding hands like to the restaurant, Sean and I, like,
right,
it probably wasn't something we would have like done immediately. But this one, I felt like immediately I could have done that. I could have given him a kiss in public and
yeah,
not say anything type thing. We're not the type to make out in public, but if we did, I probably would have.
Well, that's extra. That's extra. Yeah. We all know that. Yeah.
It was just that safety in numbers kind of thing. I think helped a little bit, but it also helped the other people on the cruise too. Mm-hmm. I could just tell that everybody that was there was being themselves.
So you kind of answered my next question. You said safety in numbers, but if it wasn't because of that, what do you think changed? What do you think is changing, where you can just kind of go on a vacation like that and just feel completely safe finally, and close to as safe as possible?
I think it's one of those things that it took some time to build it up, and for people to understand the brand has our back.
Yeah,
basically, and is supportive of that. And you can go on Royal Caribbean. Royal Caribbean has every single night they have like a LGBT social hour.
Yes,
but it's not hosted. It's not anything huge. There's literally a guy walking around with a teeny tiny little pride flag, which is something that wasn't done before either. It was literally when we had these meetups on cruises in the past. I think I talked about it before. They used to call it Friends of Dorothy, and that was our code for meet up at the bar at 10 p.m. Because
somewhere over the rainbow, and no one would even understand that, right?
Like
there's like super code word,
yeah. There was a code word for that, and there's still a code word for Alcoholics Anonymous on the ships too.
Oh, really?
Friends of Bill. Bill W. I think.
What does that stand for?
I'm assuming some guy that's maybe started AA.
Gotcha.
I'm not sure, but that's their code of if you see Bill W. on the
then you
calendar, that's where the Alcoholics Anonymous meetings are.
Yeah.
So we had those meetings before on the cruise ships, but it's nice to go there and have that meetup time. But I felt like with Virgin, we didn't have to have a private scheduled hour kind of thing. It was it was all day long, which was the first time essentially. Like I said in the past, even on Virgin, there was a lot of gays, and we met up kind of on our own time, but not as one, or not feeling as one, I guess.
Yeah, it's almost transitioning in my, what I'm hearing is there, you don't have to go on a gay cruise to be on a gay cruise. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like you can now just cruise. You don't have to say it's a gay meetup. It's just going to the bar now. And that was what was really cool about your story, is that it's kind of so quickly, even just from your stories before is now. And I can't speak for the other cruise lines, but Virgin in particular, like you can just go there and just assume that there's going to be a lot of members of your community there that you can feel safe with, that you can meet up, and you don't even have to, obviously organizing the nights like you did were awesome, but it's like you can go to the bar and just run into a handful of these people there, and it's like, oh my gosh, my clique is here.
Yeah, and it was cool to go to the bar and just see guys dancing with guys, girls dancing with girls.
Yeah.
Guys and girls, like even straight guys were dancing with us and hanging out, just because we're here to have fun. We're on vacation. Like,
absolutely.
And the thing is, like, Virgin kind of teaches that aspect now of come as you are, and that's her whole vibe on board. It's, you don't have to get dressed up to go to dinner. There's no formal nights. There's no anything crazy like that, because when I'm going out to dinner, I'm not worried about what other people are wearing. I'm worried about what food is on my plate.
Right, exactly. So moving forward now, since you are the owner of Sandpiper Vacations, your number one travel agency, the number one travel agency on the internet. I'm going to say that because I think you can say whatever you can on whatever you want on the internet, right?
If you said it on the internet, it's true.
Exactly. Yeah. Like as long as one person says it, it's most definitely true. The number one travel agency on the internet that doesn't charge you a dime for their services.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Scott was a client of mine last week. You were as well too.
Scott's wife.
Rachel. Well, Scott's wife.
Yeah, Scott's wife. Yes, I was a client for sure. Yep.
Yeah. And Scott took my advice too, and he went to the nude beach, and
yeah, I was a client of Nick's. I also booked a vacation.
Wondering what the weird cameras though, with the Sandpiper Vacation logo, were in the trees.
Don't worry, it's just marketing.
He's really good at research.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say about that moving forward, and maybe you already felt this way, but I would feel maybe the feeling is now reinforced. Is Virgin Cruise Line going to be like your most recommended cruise line moving forward?
Yeah, definitely for me. And it's not just the whole LGBT aspect of it. It's the experience in general that you get with Virgin. The food, hands down, is the best food I've ever had on a cruise ship.
Wow.
All their food is made. All their food is made fresh to order. When you go on
interesting.
Royal Caribbean, they have these massive restaurants that feed 2,500 people in an hour.
Right.
Or in Chris's case, 2,500 plates a minute. I think the math's right.
Check that.
They have their own individual restaurants, and they're all made fresh to order. So they have pasta that they're making fresh back there. They have steaks that are cooked to order versus a steak that's been sitting there on their hot plate for 20 minutes.
Listen, no steak sitting there for 25 minutes if I'm on the cruise. So
you're back in the kitchen.
Oh yeah. I'm like, hey, let's speed this up a little bit.
And they just include such a different experience for it's adult only cruise line, and it caters to that adult only clientele. And people, I think that I've seen on Virgin in the past, that's they're like, oh, I'm here for the adults only experience. They don't understand when you say adult, they're gonna say cuss words in their music. They're gonna have music that's not right. It's not just Margaritaville over and over again. It's literally Nicki Minaj songs playing all across the ship, and Virgin started out as a music brand, and he includes that all over the place with DJs that are flown in from around the world.
Wow.
To perform on there, and the DJs were super amazing, and so much fun too. So it's a cruise line that caters to anybody that is just open to having a fun time. Is what I have to say.
Yeah, the what screams out at me with this Virgin Cruise Line, which I've never taken before, but I've always I through you and through your posts and everything, is not so much the LGBTQ friendliness, right? It what I think that's they don't even have to emphasize that. What they emphasize is inclusiveness to everybody, and when they say everybody, they mean everybody. So whether it's the LGBT community, whether it's the it's an adults only, so they do adults only stuff. But it's just like everyone is welcome. They don't have to say it's gay friendly because everyone is welcome, right? Which is cool because you shouldn't have to market to just the LGBT community. If you say everyone is welcome, everyone is welcome. You know what I mean? Whatever whatever you are, it's amazing. It's really cool. I will be leaving at some point in the next year or two. I will be leaving my wife and child at home for a Virgin cruise with you, Nick, because we have to. I feel like I'm gonna have to do it at some point. Paid for by probably Rachel, not by myself.
I'll join that one.
See, so me, Darren, Scott is gonna have to stay at home. He has to provide for his.
Yeah, because they don't have Bud Light beer on there. So
Yeah, it's not
You
good.
got to pay off the TikTok debt.
yeah, if that tells you anything about the brand, they don't serve Bud Light on there.
Wow, so maybe they aren't very inclusive. Maybe I misspoke.
So they don't like the gays.
Yeah.
No, the
They
guys
just
don't
like their
Bud Light.
money. Yeah.
We drank that. Basically, they drank them out of vodka and champagne on that ship.
Tito's and vodka.
in the second segment here, I'm gonna end this real quick because I guess we are also gonna do segments on here. No, we're not gonna do segments. I'll do a commercial.
There you go.
I'll do like a read.
commercial.
Yeah, I'll do a commercial. So in our second segment, I want to dive into some more comedic way to end the episode. Maybe I think that's how I'm going to do this moving forward. Whenever we do a serious topic on No New Friends After Dark, we're going to end it on a light note. And then we'll end it on a white note with Scott summaries. So, before we go to the more comedic section of Nick's cruise, does anybody have any serious questions for Nick? Didn't think so because Scott's very insensitive. Darren, what were you gonna say?
What's the meaning of life?
Oh
Why are we here?
wow!
42.
What?
42.
What's that mean?
It's the question. It's the answer to the question.
Jackie
42.
Robinson,
I don't get
Reggie
it.
Jackson.
Reggie Jackson,
Randy Jackson.
All right, let me do an ad read real quick.
No, I don't have any answers to
I'll
that.
do an ad read real quick and then I'll go. This episode of No New Friends After Dark has been brought to you by Clorox Bleach. All right, so now we are back.
Speaking of bleaching your assholes,
Clorox.
All right, Nick, I've got a question. And
Is this
I
a
have
serious
been-
question? Because I literally just asked. Or is this a
No,
comedic question?
it's not a serious
Okay, thank
question.
goodness.
This
Because
is
you
the
like,
thing.
That's why
my
didn't
ad
ask.
read was okay.
That's why I didn't ask when you said, does anybody have a serious question
Okay,
to ask?
go ahead.
I mean,
Carry
it
on.
is a serious question,
Okay.
but it's a question nonetheless.
Oh, it's a gay question, so you just think it's funny. Wow. Okay. Whatever.
Being
Exactly,
gay is
yeah.
funny.
Yeah. See, Darren, this is your dad. You chose this guy to be your dad.
that's what we had to put up with.
Darren's breaking up.
We're gonna assume he said I didn't choose him to be your dad. 'Cause I'm pretty sure that's what he said.
Yeah.
That's what I would have said.
Yeah, we'll guess what he says. He says, I didn't choose to be.
Go ahead, caller, with your question.
Okay, so here's my question. Okay, so when how do I put this? So when I'm having adult time when I go to Costco with my wife, very rare, but when I do, when I'm done, I'm done. That's the end of the night. Okay, so here's my
You're
question.
just a selfish lover.
What?
You're just a selfish lover.
Selfish lover.
Well, I guess this is just the answer to that.
I
My
go
question
get
is
pizza.
what?
I go get pizza.
Okay, well, but my question is, if when you're with your husband, only one of you is doing the penetrating at a time. So when you're done, is there does it now? It's like okay, switch. Like how
Yeah.
does that work?
You take turns sometimes. Yeah.
So it's just that it's that basis. So you're just laying there because you're really not
Right.
you're just
Are you on your
just
phone?
receiving.
Like you're on Instagram or something.
I'm the type. There's different types on this too, and we can get as graphic as you want. I don't know. Can we on the YouTube? I don't know.
I don't know.
We'll keep it tame.
They won't take us down, but we just won't. They won't run ads. Like we won't be able to monetize.
They hate the gays.
They hate the gays too. No, Google likes. Are they Google or Facebook? I don't even know anymore.
You owe us 35 cents, Nick.
Yeah, I think I owe money now. Yeah, we both try to make sure that we finish each other's sandwiches, and
That's what I was gonna say.
sometimes I finish, and then I let him do what he needs to do to get done.
But I mean, like, you're probably just like laying there though, right? Because it's like you're done.
Some guys are into just continuing to keep pleasing the other person. I personally am done.
Yeah.
I'm done. Do you ever go on your
I'm
phone
done.
during or read a book?
That's why, like, I focus so hard on the foreplay because that's where I live. I'm really good at the foreplay. But once I'm in, once I'm done, I'm done.
I love that your son is on this episode right now.
It's talking about golf. It's talking about golf, Darren.
Yeah.
When we start this, once we
foreplay
hit
golf.
record or once we hit live, all bets are off.
You guys are coworkers. You're no longer son and father.
Yeah, I know. I can just call him Scott now.
Yeah.
You did in the whole last episode. Just called me Scott. Someone even said, "Why does Darren call him Scott?" So it's just for the
Darren, what do you
podcast.
think about foreplay? I'm just kidding.
Let's make it awkward for Scott now.
Wow. So yeah, that was actually a really good question, Scott, because Scott did have that lesbian question the other night about like when do you know you're done, not knowing that women orgasm, which was pretty funny. That's seriously what she said to me. That was the first thing she said to me. It was like, oh my gosh, Scott has no idea that women have the capability of orgasming. That's why he thinks that they're just like they shake hands and go to bed, pat each other on the butt and say good game, and I'm just like, all right, we're done, right?
Listen, I have way more. I've got way more questions. I've got so many questions about lesbian sex. We need to have a lesbian on here.
I'll tell you
that we
what,
can-
Emily's coworker, friend, is interested in coming on the podcast, but it's like I don't know.
She's Lebanese.
and then she's going to appear on the podcast as well.
Wow. Are we still calling it a podcast since it's
This is
one of those people can listen?
yeah.
How's this work?
What is this? What are we?
What are
What is the
we?
meaning of this?
But
This is
42.
what is this?
But I need to understand how lesbian sex works. I
Yeah,
need to
no, we'll have her
understand-
on during summer though because I don't want to say her profession, but she's gonna have more time for us.
We
Then.
probably won't be doing this in the summer. Let's be honest.
Oh, if you start
stick
hosting,
with
we
the-
won't.
What?
That's what happened the last time.
Yeah, remember the
Look at this. Can you imagine? Look, did you see how fast Scott hosted for 3 episodes and that quickly he paid for somebody to do an intro? Can we talk about that for a second?
and then he quit.
But hold up. I had an intro from the very beginning. The scumbag
true. You did have
reselling
an
order
intro.
himself.
And you
Horace
had the Scott one just ready to go. You probably paid for that the same week you paid for mine. So I guess he's not. He's not doing this for
hanging on
long.
to it.
He's not doing this for long. Before we end the first ever episode of whatever this is,
No New Friend. NNF
After Dark
Live.
live the what?
It's
the
NNF ADL.
are we a After Death Light
After Dark
L
Live.
live? I get it. I get it. Like Live Nation.
I don't think we can say that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Alex, cut that. Alex, log into our YouTube and cut the 3 seconds that I said that. Nifadl. I like that.
Bottle.
I'm gonna get an NFADL shirt hat now.
I was like,
I
what
got
do you call
arrested
me?
for a hate crime. Yeah.
It's like a special ed group. Or
So
something.
wow, that was not the direction I was taking it. But anyway, before we end our first ever whatever this is, I want to talk a little bit about the death of No New Friends After Dark. Why did No New Friends After Dark die, in your opinion, Scott?
because it was killing our numbers.
It was killing our numbers, but was there a specific episode that
Oh,
may
yeah,
have
yeah,
killed
yeah, yeah.
the?
Essentially, Jagazis killed No New Friends After Dark.
Yeah, is he dead? Is he still around?
I don't know.
It was just Easter the other day. He probably just riz. Rizzed.
He just rizzed.
Yeah, he just rizzed.
We learned that word at Abby's segment.
Yeah.
So
He's always risen.
so Jagazis was supposed to come on the podcast.
Right. And we were supposed to have
do an interview.
After Dark.
He was supposed to be on After Dark.
Right.
He couldn't come on. And so I had this stupid idea. And I'm like, well, let's have Remy on.
It's the same thing. It's the
Right.
same thing.
And I'm going to ask him the questions that I was going to ask Jagazis.
Right. Right. Which apply to
I think
both,
would've-
right?
I think it would have been fun.
For 30 seconds.
Well, for a little bit. But here's the problem. When I started
Here's the problem. We have 45 more minutes to go.
when I asked him the first question, I was like, instead of asking Remy the question that I was asking Jagazis, I was asking Remy as though he was Jagazis.
Right. Yeah.
And it got super weird and super borderline uncomfortable. To be
He
honest
well,
with
he
you.
went totally into the role of
Yeah. But
But it
Jagazis.
was-
Like
but
he
it-
went
but
like
it wasn't Remy's fault. It was my fault.
no, but he really committed to the role.
I know. It just got weird, and that was my fault because of the way that I phrased the question. I was asking Remy acting as Jagazis instead of asking Remy the Jagazis questions.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, I think the fact that Jagazis couldn't make the episode because he was in the hospital played a lot into
Which
the
I didn't
cancellation of
know.
it because Remy was joking about being in a hospital, and the two totally were not connected
That's a
at
lot.
all. Like Remy had no idea, right?
I
But
had no
then
idea.
we found out during the recording that was he's fine. He's alive. He's not dead. Pretty sure. I'm pretty sure he's still
I don't
around.
know.
I'm pretty sure. Like I would go out on a limb. I wouldn't go out
I
on a
follow
limb.
him on all the social medias, and I haven't seen him do anything.
No.
So maybe, I don't know, RIP? That's our luck. We book someone on the podcast, and then
And they gone.
I think he said hi to Mary for us.
like his mom or our former co-host.
Our former in the afterlife. Yeah. Did you
yeah.
hear this dog? He's barking now.
Is that at your house now? We got Scott drinking loud. What's going on?
This
We're
is
falling apart.
this is No New Friends After Dark. This is No New Friends After Dark live. The movie is this a movie? This is a docu-series. This is a docu-series. What is this? This is a podcast? Because it's not a
It's a
podcast.
video podcast.
A video
It's a video
podcast.
podcast.
A vodcast. If
It's
it's
a
Clearly,
vodcast.
Scott's not paying attention because he was on his
Vodcast.
phone, Mary.
You should make the logo like on a vodka bottle, and it's
oh, then it's gonna be like very mind-bending. The vodcast, and it's a vodka
vodcast.
bottle, insinuating that
Um,
I'm always drunk hosting, and that
I mean,
it's a video podcast.
I wanted to say in summary, like, so I'm glad that this is back because I love having those kind of deep conversations. And, like,
Absolutely.
tonight, just rethinking about my vacation, like, there was a moment on my cruise that I was literally crying of just how happy I was.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And it was right after I put on that pride party, and I just got so many compliments from everybody saying thank you for hosting this, thank you for letting us feel like we could be ourselves. And
Yeah.
just the fact that people spent their vacation money and their time, and it wasn't just the gay community, but just everybody, our entire cruise. I felt like everybody was just had the best time, and it's because of the gays. The gays
It's
are
the-
amazing.
yeah,
it's the gays.
I that's why I wanted to talk more about your vacation, Nick, is because like I wanted to kind of dive deeper into it. It was worth more than just a segment on the podcast because I knew that just the way you're talking about it meant so much to you. Because like if I went on a cruise for guys that are 5 foot that are like I went on a cruise and then there was like a meeting of all 5'6" people wearing glasses that Malcolm X wore
Yeah.
with beards that gained a lot of weight from tearing their Achilles tendon. I'd feel so good about myself. And no, but seriously, like I thought it was really cool and deserved more time than just the segment you got. I was really happy to hear. Even during your vacation, it was really cool to see. But really happy to hear that it was like we've always said on this No New Friends After Dark, a step in the right direction of the of life, of society, moving more towards inclusiveness. It's really cool that a whole cruise line now is that inclusive. And Scott's smiling because Scott's gonna have so many homophobic jokes in a couple minutes.
I know. There's a really good summary though.
All right. Anybody have anything else to say in closing before we hand this over to Mr. Scott?
I'm really glad.
What the hell? I said what? Did you guys hear me? Was I the only person that heard that? Scott, you have 30 seconds
Have anything
before I hand it over to Mr. Scott.
Right.
And then Mr.
And
Scott
then I
jumps
started to
right
say
in.
something.
And then you're like, you know what? Move.
Sorry,
I'm
go ahead.
straight.
Right. He's gonna have a song next week.
It's gonna be a banjo. Dong, 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 dong.
It'll be the Dixie.
No, Scott, you can go ahead and finish what you were saying.
I was just gonna say I'm glad that we brought this back.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
I think that so much good came out of the original After Dark episodes that we did. So many good
Yeah,
episodes.
it's therapy.
It is. It is. And I think it's important. And I think that we stopped doing it at the right time and we're bringing it back at the right time and
Yeah.
in the right medium, you know,
Yeah,
instead
absolutely.
of instead of it being a Spotify thing and then I'm having to edit it and then it becomes a hassle. It becomes
sure.
a burden.
Right.
And
it's not fun anymore. It's just it's a chore.
Right, it
Right.
became not fun.
Yeah, 'cause
for
Scott's
me,
like,
and I
we
don't think it was
cannot.
fun
It's because I
you.
hate talking about these gay people so much.
Stop.
He's like, I have to edit all the gay.
Yeah, I hear this twice now.
Yeah, I didn't know that you guys talked about anything gay on this podcast.
They got out the whole I'm gay episode.
The logo is just because we love that song, Rainbow Connection.
The time to come out of the closet episode was time to come out of the closet and clean the rest of the room. No, it did so many good things for so many people, and
Yeah.
it strengthened our community.
Absolutely.
And built some really cool friendships. Just with hearing kind of the stories that Nick has gone through, that Chris has gone through. Mental health was definitely a big part of what we talked about, and I
Yeah.
think a lot of connections were made between some of our Patreon members and then you guys because that safe space was made, and then someone was like, "Oh, Chris is going through the same thing that I went through."
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
Nick is going through and so it just opened those doors for conversations to have, even if they weren't off air, or even if they were off air.
Yeah.
And you know how much I love content and all that, but After Dark did so many important things. I think stuff that I may never realize because I wasn't necessarily involved in all these conversations, or Nick and Ryan are like like the oddest couple for best friends.
Yeah.
We're the Fairly Odd Couple.
But amazing relationships have forged from After Dark, and I'm super glad it's back. I'm super glad we figured out the right way to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for what's to come.
Yeah, before I end my spiel, Darren, you were going to say something before your father so rudely cut you off.
I mean, he said everything I was going to say. I'm just so excited that you guys brought this back. And I'm even more excited that you guys have allowed me to be on this journey with you and be able to go through some of these hard topics and just not so easy things to talk about.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I
we're
think
glad
it'll be
you're here,
nice I think it'll be nice having Darren now because I feel like we have 4 basically generations here.
Yeah,
So we have
yeah.
the old person.
Darren's like 2 years
the
younger than me, I
semi-
think. You piece of shit.
Yeah,
Maybe 3.
He's mostly younger.
3.
And that's how much it's changed between the years even too. Because like the LGBT, we added on the queue in like 2017, 2018. So that's all new to me even. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So in ending this first ever episode, let me do like a 45-minute outro here. How we're gonna
Well,
start.
don't forget about summaries.
Oh, how could I forget? You'll remind me anyway. No, seriously, really glad that we brought this back. But this is like I said, this is the first episode, but this is really a soft launch of this. We're gonna this is gonna be very similar to what you've heard in the past, but also different. We're gonna add a lot of stuff to it. The visuals are gonna be completely different. We're gonna have a lot of people coming on to the podcast, and we're also gonna interview people on the podcast as well. It's gonna be really fun. We
Claudia Wells next week.
We have Claudia Wells. But what I want to do more of too is, so my wife is a teacher, and she has this really cool system of, for people who are too afraid to ask questions, they write it down and put it in a little box. I want our listeners or viewers, I guess, as since this is YouTube. Send us questions, send us topics that you guys want to explore, that you guys need the answers to, that the four of us will somehow be able to answer. I'd love to be able to dive into that and have like maybe a weekly segment of answering one of your questions. Or and if you guys are brave enough, and I might say brave enough, but you're confident enough to be on screen or whatever, to come on the podcast, we would love to have you on as well. But if you're not, that's fine. But I'd love to talk about the topics that you guys want to talk about as well. Some of the deeper cutting things that maybe one of us can relate to. I think that'd be a lot of fun and very constructive. I've talked to Scott in the past about this at length. What made me really love doing this, and the opposite direction that it took in the best way possible, was the feedback from our listeners. And when we got that first email or message or whatever it was saying that I suffered through mental health and thank you so much for talking about this, that kept me going. Even when I didn't want to do this anymore, that kept me going. So the fact that we're talking about topics that you guys want to hear, I want to talk about more topics that you guys are interested in. So please send us messages. Please send us emails. However you can contact us, let us know. We will talk about the topic. We don't care. We will talk about anything. We are shameless, and we also want to help. So I would love to make that a segment. If not, that's fine too. But I would really love to dive into subjects that you guys find interesting. Ask us questions that maybe you want to explore. And it can be funny too. It doesn't matter. It doesn't need to be all serious. But whether it's super serious or super funny, send them in. We'll talk about it, because this is my show and I make the rules. So... and if you guys want to be a guest, please reach out to us on either nerdfriendspodcast@yahoo.com or send us a message on Discord or Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or wherever you are listening to this right now. And we will get you on the show, and we'll talk about life with you. So that's all I have to say. If anybody else doesn't have to say anything, which I don't think you did, because I asked everyone 10 times already. Scott, you have any summaries for us?
I do. I think we should do a Friends from TikTok night. That would be fun.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely open to that. Me and you, before you go into summaries, me and you had that really fun night where we interviewed random people.
Yeah.
And to bring like people like that on the podcast to talk about their stories is awesome, because
that was
pretty
super fun.
pretty interesting stuff, and we only got to talk to them for like 7 minutes. So
I know.
Yeah, but go ahead, do your thing.
All right, here we go. Nick was telling us how after he and his husband were married, they had a child. Then he tried to dumb it down for me, explain to me that when two people love each other, they get married and have a baby. Look, I know where babies come from. I was just confused because I'm usually not married when I have those kids. Nick was talking about his Virgin cruise. Speaking of virgins, it was really nice having Sophisticated Gentlemen back on the Sunday episode.
Aww.
Nick talked about the Friends with Dorothy event and the Friends of Bill or AA meeting. Chris goes to the Friends with Jabba all-you-can-eat party. When he's in his
Scott goes to the Friends with Bill Cosby event.
Nick said that Virgin is an adult-only cruise and said that the music may have bad words in them. Really, Nick? We're worried about the music having bad words in them? There was a clothing optional bar on the cruise with more stains on the wall than Monica Lewinsky's dress.
The gays don't miss.
Darren asked what the meaning of life was. I answered with the answer 42, which is a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy reference.
Oh, gotcha.
42 was also how many pounds Chris has gained in the last 3 months.
That's alarmingly accurate. Did you text Emily?
Your doctor called.
Chris said he would have a lesbian on. Doesn't want to give away her profession, but she could do it in the summer.
You're a piece of shit.
So she's either a teacher or an Alaskan crab fisherman.
She's not coming on anymore.
Yeah.
We'll cut
Or,
that.
there is one more person that I know that takes the summer off, too.
That was good. That was good.
I was going to say, or they, she could be the host of the Diz His podcast. I don't know. I don't know.
Former.
Farmer, yeah. We talked a little bit about Jagasis, and hopefully he's still alive. But if he's not, on a positive note, give him 3 days or so, he'll be back. And lastly, Chris said that anyone could come on the podcast. Unfortunately, my wife can't come on the podcast. She's usually in bed by now.
Oh, Jesus.
And those are my summaries.
Oh, thank you, Scott. I do respect the coughing trick that I've used a couple times. Imitation emulates flattery. That's not the expression at all, actually.
I know where you're going with
That was
but yeah.
beautiful, though. Actually, I might put that on the side of a juice
Put it on a
box.
t-shirt. Yeah.
Yeah. Remember, why was Confucius on the side of every juice box? You know what I'm talking about? It's the sips. Oh, shit, I'm old. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm going to just make this outro nice, short, and sweet. So, maybe like 15 minutes.
You guys have like 20 minutes.
No, seriously. Really happy that all you are still watching. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be doing this hopefully on a weekly basis. If not, set the notifications because you'll get notified whenever we are live, but you won't be unless you do it. Right? Is that how that works, Scott?
What?
You're the social media guy now. Like if you subscribe, do you have to subscribe with notifications on?
Yeah,
Yeah, you
turn
gotta
your
turn on the
notifications
bell.
on. Click
Oh,
on the bell.
click the
Little
bell.
bell button.
Click the bell. Click the
Yeah,
bell. All right.
For the
Yeah.
YouTube or the TikTok?
YouTube.
Yes.
YouTube. Yeah, because I said we'll probably do this on a weekly basis, but if we don't, you're going to want to turn on those notification bell things to get notified. Right, am I right or am I like I'm asking?
You're right.
I'm
No,
like
yeah, you're right.
I'm
I was gonna say,
asking.
This is your ending.
I'm
don't know.
asking. I don't know either. I don't want to Google it. People see my screen. We learned that last night when I was talking shit on the dog I'm watching on Disney.
Okay, sorry. Peeling back behind the curtain. So last night, Diz His recorded their 250th episode. Okay, and like
Oh,
a lot of
congratulations
us-
to them. That's huge. Wow.
Congratulations.
Oh, wow, thank you.
So it was Chris, it was Alex, it was Ryan, it was Sophisticated Gentleman, it was myself, it was Dane, and it was a little bit probably edgier episode than normal because me and Dane were on, and
They're good at edging.
They're all talking shit on the Zoom comments. Well, I
Yeah.
look over to the YouTube because it's being streamed on the YouTube.
It was.
And Chris had shrunk down his screen, so all the comments that they're saying, and these are not like family-friendly
No,
comments,
I was,
were live on the YouTube.
I said, and I
That's
quote,
crazy. I can't see them.
Oh, thank
But I was
goodness.
watching on my phone, so maybe you got lucky.
Oh, I can see
yeah,
them
I have
on
to
my
rewatch
computer.
and see, but I was saying like, oh yeah, my family's in Italy. I have to watch this fuck, and I was talking about the dog, like this mentally ill dog who, maybe a whole episode. But anyway, thank you for watching No New Friends during dark. Why did we call it after dark?
After it
Oh,
gets
here we
dark.
go again.
I started calling it after dark because it was after it was dark, but it's really during the dark time. She got No New
After
Friends
hours.
Dark Ages after hours, like Remy. Clocking out. Thank you for listening to No New Friends Clocking Out. On behalf of myself, Mr. Scott, our emotional sport gay Nick, and the wise man Darren, I'm Chris. I already said myself. We'll see you next week.
Bye. Bye, bitches.
Can't steal my saying. Yeah, it's mine. That's my public.
Love you guys.